San Diego 6 News in the morning.
And,
as you already are very aware, the housing market continues to sink and struggle as our economy tries to gain a foothold. If you're facing foreclosure or have delinquency issues, we want to know what are your options. And joining us to talk about those options is Matt Battiata with the Battiata Real Estate Group. Good morning, Matt. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you.
So we got into this mess 2007, 2006.
2006. Yeah.
Are we any closer to seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, or is it continuing?
No, we are. We're definitely getting there. I mean, the big issue in San Diego County has always been affordability. The market's dropped a lot in price, so that's making it more affordable. But, you know, the reality is I think we're still a year or two away from the market, you know, kind of bottoming out and recovering.
You know, there's been a lot of talk directed at banks, a lot of vitriol directed at banks for their refusal to do loan modifications for folks. Do you see that changing? Do you feel like the federal government is putting enough pressure on banks to do loan mods, or are they just simply saying no more?
The government's putting a lot of pressure on banks to do loan modifications, but the banks are largely just going through the motions. So unfortunately, I wish I could give a better report. And as you know, someone who's been to Capitol Hill about 4 times to press the issue, unfortunately the banks still have virtually no willingness to modify people's loans in any reasonable way. So that's part of that shadow inventory that the report came out about, all these homes that they think are going to be hitting the market. It's a huge looming number.
In San Diego County, how many do you think that's going to be affected?
Well, to give you an idea, in the last 5 years since this started, we've had roughly 150,000 notices of default filed. So that's when a homeowner is seriously in default. They're 90 days behind. We've only had about 64,000 foreclosures. So we've really gone through less than half of these people that are in default. And that's in the last 5 years, so it shows you what's coming down the pike.
You talk about loan modifications. If banks are unwilling to work with folks, is that a waste of your time to be talking about?
We don't do loan modifications.
Okay.
We tell homeowners they can do it on their own, which they can, but the success rate is literally about 2%. It's ridiculous. Okay. So it's an exercise in futility, unfortunately.
What are you going to tell folks? You're holding a workshop, we know, coming up at the end of this month. Tell us about what folks can find there. How much does it cost?
No, it's a free seminar. It's at the Del Mar Hilton, July 30th, and basically it's a seminar for upside down homeowners. It's giving homeowners all their various options if they're upside down on their home, what they can do, whether it's, you know, we'll have a tax expert, a bankruptcy attorney, short sale expert. We'll even have somebody that does loan modifications to give people an idea. Just basically give them all their options so they can evaluate it and make the best choice.
You obviously have a lot of expertise in dealing with this. You've been to Capitol Hill, you say 4 times. What is the best advice you can give somebody who's trying to stay in their home?
You know, it's to be proactive, number one, and, you know, as I said, evaluate your options. Once you know all your options, you can make a decision. What people tend to do is they tend to kind of ignore it because they don't, it's, you know, the paralysis of analysis, they don't know what to do. And then you get into the 11th hour where you're this close to getting foreclosed on, and it's your options are much narrower.
There's been economists across the world that have said, you know what, your property's upside down. It may not be the moral thing to do, but walk away from your property.
Yeah.
Is that the smartest thing to do?
Well, I don't think it's a moral issue. I mean, the banks would like you to think it's a moral issue, but the reality is that, you know, you bought a house, the collateral is the property. If you don't make your payments, the bank takes the property back. And it's true, there are a lot of people that are making the decision that this is just the best business decision for my family. I've got this property I'm horribly upside down on. It just doesn't make sense for me to keep it. And we call that a strategic short sale. And that's actually getting relatively common, and a lot of people are looking at it now as, hey, this just makes the best business sense for my family, and it's a business decision at the end of the day.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for coming by this morning. Wish we had better news, but it's nice to see you
Well,
anyway.
there are options. That's the good news.
That is a good news. That is a good thing. For more information, you can go to san diego6.com and click on Hot Topics.